For some reason, but here's all the box scores.
So when
it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
Well, if that doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will. BJ Rains, Matt Bauscher with you here. Another edition of the Matt Bauscher Show, the number one realtor in 2021. Nobody sold more homes than Matt Bauscher in 2021. So please consider Bauscher Real Estate for your next purchase, or if you're looking to sell your home as well, part of the Amherst Madison Real Estate Group. And Matt, man, 8 in a row, and we've said it every time, but we'll keep it going. Boise State has not lost since we started the show. The Broncos now 8-0, have not lost since November 30th. This team is on a roll, and it's pretty fun to watch, man.
Last night was a blast. I was by myself getting to watch it, and it was unbelievable. I mean, from the defensive end to the dunks to the big shots when they were coming back. I mean, Shaver had some daggers. It was awesome. Fun to be a part of.
You think about his daggers. You had Acott with the one-handed tomahawk slam. You had I mean, you know, did you ever? I don't remember where it crossed paths, but did you ever play in the Lawler Event Center?
Oh yeah, yep. We played there in our JaVale McGee, and they had those guys we battled against. And Ramon Sessions was an NBA player. That's right. They had some squads. We battled them there for sure.
Because that's a tough place to play. And over the years, Boise State has really struggled at Lawler Event Center. I think they're against 11-28 all time going into the game at the Lawler Event Center. 11-28 all time. They had lost 6 in a row down there. I had yet to see a win in Reno. I'd been there like 5 times and hadn't seen a win yet. The last 5 years overall, Boise State was 1-11 against Nevada. But COVID pause or no COVID pause, I mean, they looked like they were just rolling right from the previous game, Matt. I mean, just the fact that they had over 2 weeks off, you would have never known it, man. They kept things rolling and looked really impressive last night.
I was very, very impressed. I mean, I think Leon said it in the post game, but normally when you have a pause, you have a lot of turnovers and you're sloppy, but they watched film, and they seem like seasoned vets out there. I mean, they never got rattled. They never let anything get to them. And I think they led for, I think Paul J said it or somebody said it, they led for 39 minutes and 48 seconds.
Yeah, they scored on the opening possession. They won the tip and they scored. The only time they were not leading was like the first 15 seconds till they scored, and then they literally led from start to finish. 99% of the game they had the lead.
Yeah, and we got some debates going. The 87-88 team defensively versus this year's team, and I looked at some of them. I mean, I think they held Michigan in the NCAA tournament to, low 60s, so they were definitely locking up. Little longer shot clock, less possessions, but it's a fun debate.
Yeah, we'll get into the defense in a minute. I do want to show a couple highlights. These are courtesy of Fox Sports 1. We appreciate them. But that dunk we saw from Emmanuel Acott, tell us, you were watching the game like everybody else. I was there at the Lawler Event Center, but you're not really expecting it. And he crosses that guy over and goes in for the one-handed slam. Matt, what were your thoughts on this play?
Unbelievable. He cuts him off middle, which was good. And then behind the back, the other guy tries to steal it. He steals him off and then just steals him off and then
rises up.
It's
too late if you're Will Baker. He was
impressive dunk there from Acott. He had 23 points for Boise State. He had some other unsung heroes as well, and Marcus Shaver hitting the jumper
crowd
there.
was going nuts. We're only up 9 at the time, and the crowd wanted to get ready, and Shaver hit the clutch pull-up.
You had our Moose there as well. He had a couple tough buckets in transition. And then I thought this next play, Najee Smith gets the steal under the basket, comes back and has the tomahawk slam or the two-handed slam there. I thought what Najee Smith provided was something that this team, really can use. And he's a guy that comes off the bench, Matt, but, the JUCO, former first-team JUCO All-American. But for him to, come up behind, and we'll watch it one more time here, and poke the ball out. Not only that, but grab the ball himself, turn around and dunk it. He had another big dunk in this game as well. What they're getting from Najee Smith off the bench is really impressive right now. And if you're going to be a team that, wants to make the NCAA tournament, wants to win the Mountain West, you got to have key contributions off the bench from guys like Najee Smith.
You can't measure how impactful Najee's minutes were. I mean, emotionally, he's an emotional leader. It feeds the other guys. He gets 19 minutes. He has 11 points on only 7 shots, 2 huge steals, gets 4 boards, didn't really make a mistake. His energy, I mean, he's a junkyard dog. He does it all. I love his energy, and he is going to need to be that kind of spark for us throughout the season to make a run.
What else impressed you from this game? Obviously, Nevada comes in with those 2 guards, Sherfield and Cambridge, and last year they averaged like 48 points a game combined against Boise State. Now, Sherfield did get his. He had 26 points, 7 assists, but Cambridge only had 14 points, which only 14 points, but for Boise State standards, they held him in check a little bit. And then the 2 7-footers, there was a lot made going into the game, Warren Washington and then the 5-star transfer Will Baker from Texas. And Will Baker scored the first 7 points of the game and then didn't score again for Nevada the rest of the game. He finishes with 7 points. Warren Washington had 11 points. But I think they said on the broadcast when I was rewatching the game on the flight back today that he had 7 offensive rebounds in their last game, and he didn't have any offensive rebounds in this game. So Boise State controlled the glass. They won the rebounding battle. I think it was 38-29. They won the points in the paint battle as well. And you're talking about 2, quality 7-footers. Armouche held his ground in there, and then they end up going small with Najee Smith for a good portion of the game. We saw Milner in there a little bit in the first half, but overall, Boise State, was physical and really battled on the inside there.
We're beating everybody on the boards. I mean, you look at Nevada, they're equally as athletic and long as us, if not more. We beat them by 9 on the boards. We had 8 offensive rebounds. We limited them to 3. And, these extra possessions make a big difference. And you're seeing it. I mean, we're firing on all cylinders. Our offense to get 85 points at Reno. I mean, that's a big number. That's a tough place to play and put up those kind of numbers against their athletic defense.
I know everybody, that's watching this probably saw the game, but just to reiterate, 28 points for Marcus Shaver Jr. That's his career. Well, it's his Boise State high, was 2 off his career high of 30 done at Portland. But he goes 4 of 8 from downtown, 10 of 14 from the field overall. So he gets 28 points on 10 shots or 14 shots. I mean, that's pretty efficient. 10 of 14 from the field. He was perfect, 4 of 4 from the foul line. He had 16 points in the second half. But again, in the first half, it was kind of Emmanuel Acot's show, and he was feeling it there for a while, Matt. We had the tomahawk slam that we showed earlier. He had a couple step-back threes. 23 was 1 off of his career high of 24. So, and I don't know how much they showed it on the broadcast, but he was the emotion that he was playing with. And just, there was one play in the second half where he, against a 7-footer, got the offensive rebound and went back up and scored and was flexing right in the guy's face. And there was another time where they called timeout after he hit a big 3 and was going crazy. I mean, just the emotion that Emmanuel Acot was playing with last night was noticeable.
I love being on the road and just silencing their crowd and yelling. And I just love that because we're internally getting energy, right? You get energy from them being quiet. And now we're going to the pit. And then, we come home for Air Force and then we have to go to Utah State. And then we bounce back 2 days later and we're at San Diego State. So the mental and physical awareness and coming together on and off the court is going to be imperative for the next, 2.5 months.
Let's talk about that defense because we've been talking about it here on this show pretty much every week for since we started the show. And we talked about, okay, now they're 35th in adjusted defensive efficiency. Okay, now they're 30th. Now they're 27th. Now they're 19th. Well, you wake up today and look at the KenPom numbers, the adjusted defensive efficiency number, which in layman's terms for just the average basketball fan out there, they adjust all the defensive metrics for who you're playing. So their field goal percentage, their points, their stats, their threes, and then it factors in what they normally do. And so it's kind of a sabermetric thing about how they did against you compared to how they normally would do. against a team of your caliber. And so you put it all together. Boise State checks in this morning at number 13 in the country in defensive efficiency. And I put it on Twitter while I was on the flight back this morning, Matt. You look at some of the teams below them on the list: Gonzaga, Duke, West Virginia, Kentucky, Michigan State, Illinois. I can go down the line. Kansas, Florida. I mean, you go down the line, there's some top 10, top 15 caliber teams. And according to KenPom, right now, Boise State has a better defense than them. So, I mean, this is statistically now one of the better defenses in the country. And you look at all the different stats. I mentioned 13th in adjusted defensive efficiency, but you look at effective field goal percentage. Boise State ranks, top 20 in that. Look at the offensive rebound percentage the other team gets. Boise State 10th in the country, only giving up 21% of offensive rebounds to the opposing team. The 2-point percentage, they're number 17. Opponents only shooting 43% against them. You go down the line. I mean, assists per game, they're 6th best in opponents' assists. Only 39% of their field goals do they get assists on. We can go down the line.
Last night we had 5 block shots. They're 7-footers. They had a combined 1 block shot. But the one thing we need to be aware of is foul trouble. So Kijab fouled out. Our Moose had 4, and Najee in 20 minutes had 4. So if we lose 1 or 2 of those bodies, we're all of a sudden a lot smaller and a lot, inside and defensive rebounding and contesting shots. Things change. So what we've done good throughout the year is not getting in foul trouble. Last night was a little different, but I think that's going to be huge. Where we're not deep. There's no secret about it. We're not a 10 to 12 team deep right now.
When you're an Emmanuel Acott, though, and you're a 5-star McDonald's All-American type guy, you want to score and you want to put up the highlight plays and you want to get to the NBA because of your offense. You look at the defense, though. I mean, Abu Kijab probably same way. I mean, no one grows up, out on the streets. When no one says, "I want to be the lockdown defender." They want to be the guy that hits the game-winning shot. So, I mean, what does it take to buy into the defensive side as well as the offensive side? And it is a little bit of a change here. We're used to Boise State, Leon Rice-led teams scoring 80+, being one of the better offensive teams. But as I just showed in the stats, they're statistically a top 15 defense in the entire country. How's that happening?
It's amazing. They're buying in and they're all coming together. You look at E-Man, I call him, Emmanuel Acott. He was the number 27 recruit in the United States. We have never had a football player or basketball player ever in the history come to this campus as that high a recruit. So that's glaring alone how incredible that is. But then you look at what he's done. He's fit in defensively and offensively in a better fit than his previous school. And at the NBA level, let's be serious. None of these guys are going to be 20 points a game NBA guys. They want to say, can you guard? Can you defend? Can you not turn it over? Last night, for example, Acott had 5 assists, 1 turnover, and he had the ball in his hands a lot. Kijab's just getting started. A lot of the guys offensively, you look at it, Max is going to get going. Kijab's going to start get going. We're going to get guys with rhythm. I mean, last night it was the Shaver and Acott story, but every game there's going to be different guys stepping up, and that's what's so dangerous.
And you look at the size, too. Acott being a 6'8" point guard, so he's usually guarding guys that are smaller than him. And you have Kijab on the wing at, 6'7". Degenhardt in there now at 6'8". Marcus Shaver is the quote-unquote small guy, at 6'1" or whatever. I mean, just the length that they have. I think I was looking at the KenPom number. I'll see if I have it here. But in terms of overall height, average height, Boise State comes in at number 14 in the country in overall average height for the 5 players on the court. So wow. What does that do defensively as well? When you've got length out on the guard position, we're seeing it's limiting teams from the 3-point line. It's helping with the rebounding, but I think that the length Boise State has at the guard position, that helps on the defensive end with some of their length.
As a guard and you're doing a pick and roll and they have a big, slow 5, I love it coming off the pick and roll because I can dissect it. He can roll. I got options. People have to help out. When they're so big and long and they're switching and their arms are out, I'm coming off a screen and another 6'8" guy's watching me, waiting for me, and everybody's sunken in. It's tough. It's tough to get buckets. It's tough to get rhythm. It's tough to get good shots. And we're long, athletic. Everybody's talking. They're in position. You don't see a lot of people gambling, missing steals like in years past. People would go for the hero play and then we'd be off balance and they'd hit a dagger. You don't see any of that.
You obviously played at Boise State. You went on the road in conference play to some tough venues. We talked about Lawler Event Center, but just in general, in conference play, going on the road, there's never really any easy nights, right? I mean, you have the occasional San Jose game, but even like an Air Force, we saw Utah State go and lose at Air Force. I mean, explain to folks that are watching this, just in conference play, there's no easy, no easy night. I mean, it's a grind. I mean, this team had to, connect in Salt Lake City to get to Reno, and then you got to play. I mean, it's not. How hard is it to win on the road in conference play, and how does that add to what they did last night?
It's tough. It's really tough on the road. Anytime you win a road game, you're very, very excited, and you're together so much. You're in your rooms, you're at pregame, you're at meal. I mean, you're not sightseeing or going down to San Diego Beach and Mission or Pacific Beach. You're doing none of that. You go from the airport to the hotel, to the gym, back to the hotel. And the hotel is where you eat, where you watch film, sometimes walk through. We did walkthroughs in one of the banquet rooms and had a fake ball, for some of that stuff. So they're not sightseeing. It's all business. And then on top of that, they're having to do studies now. They're back in school, so they're studying and they're doing all that on top of it. It's a full-time job. There's nothing easy about it on the road. It's tough. And mentally you become closer on the road though, because you're together nonstop.
Do you ever play at the Pit?
We didn't. We played at New Mexico State, Utah State, Fresno State. Never played at the Pit. Wyoming we did, Colorado State. But the Pit is a different animal historically.
And they'll go there on Saturday now. That game has been added into the schedule here. Can you ever remember a stretch either of your playing days or of watching them? I mean, 4 out of 5 on the road in a 10-day span. They're going to play 5 games in 5 different states in 10 days here. And this game was added in against New Mexico. New Mexico had an opening all of a sudden. Boise State was off this weekend. It makes sense, right? I mean, you want to get the games in. You have 2 teams available, even though they're supposed to play February 8th. Let's just play it now. And then on February 8th, maybe Boise State can have one of the other makeup games or figure it out from there. But, Boise State flies back early this morning. They're going to turn around and charter tomorrow evening down to Albuquerque. I mean, this is a quick turnaround, but they're riding high 8 games in a row. And this is, I know historically the Pit is one of the tougher places to play, Matt, but, they're out of the top 200 at Ken Pom. They just lost to UNLV by 20. I mean, this is a game where you got to go in there and take care of business and get a win, right?
Oh, you absolutely do. And they're going to be ready to go. I mean, they know every game is the difference between potential at-large standings in Mountain West. We're at the top now. Utah State lost again to Colorado State, which was probably expected. So they've dropped a couple. It's going to be, I'm telling you, the top 3 or 4, it's going to come down to the last game or 2. And you can't look ahead. You just got to look. We have 1 game. We need to go 1-0 against New Mexico. They're working on scout team today. It's all New Mexico Lobos is the only thing we're thinking about. But I know they're going to be coming back on Tuesday smiling to be sleeping in their own beds, playing at Extra Mile Arena. And I'm pleading and begging the crowd and the fans to show up for this team. It's a Tuesday night. It's going to be incredible.
7 o'clock, not too late.
We need everybody there. No excuses. They're winning, so don't give me that excuse. They're fun to watch. They play defense, and they'll dunk on your head.
If they win against New Mexico and they're on a 9-game winning streak, I would hope that there's the biggest crowd of the season. And I get it's Air Force. It's not exactly a primetime opponent. They got some good home games coming up, in the next couple of weeks. But Nathaniel's saying sell out Extra Mile Arena. I don't know if that'll happen for this game, but here's another fan, Gail, saying we will be there. Appreciate that, Gail. But somebody was asking about San Diego State. If they're still shut down with COVID next week, could we make up the game against Wyoming?
It's so because Wyoming hasn't had a game yet. They are going to be jamming their games. They haven't played a Mountain West game yet.
I know it's crazy. It does sound like, though, that San Diego State, at least from some folks I talked to in Reno last night with Boise State, San Diego State's kind of targeting the Boise State game to return. So they are hopeful that, which could be, again, you see these teams coming off the pauses, not play very well in their first game. Last night it kind of evened out because both teams were on pauses, but Boise State might luck out a little bit if San Diego State's been off 2 weeks and that's their first game back.
It's funny because the fans think 2 weeks off, you're rested, you got light legs. No, you got heavy legs.
Why is that? I mean, it was only
You're not simulating game speed. So in practice, you never have the adrenaline you have in a game, and you never simulate the same game speed that you have. So you get in there in that first media timeout, the under 16, for all the fans that want to go to the bathroom, under 16, under 12, under 8, under 4, the next dead ball is always a media timeout. So always remember that. But on the floor, I was always like, go hard, go hard. We have a media time coming out. But that first media timeout after a 2 week, I mean, your legs are going to be heavy. Your lungs are burning.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm not exactly in tip-top shape. I'm not Matt Bauscher here, but I mean, Leon was saying that last night. Like even 4 or 5 days off, they came in for that first practice, and he was like thinking it was the first practice after the summer break or something. I mean, why is that for these well-conditioned, Division I athletes? It all takes is a couple of days off in the middle of the season, and all of a sudden it takes them a week to get their legs and their lungs back under them.
I don't know. It's just you get out of that rhythm and then, everybody was sick with COVID. So you had the cold, the sniffle, the lungs. I mean, a lot of stuff's coming out and sweating out I think it's a combination of everything.
Well, final thing, Matt, what just 8 in a row. This team hasn't lost since November. They're tied, number 40 now at Ken Palm. They're tied atop the Mountain West standings. You got 2 winnable games coming up with Air Force and New Mexico. And then, maybe you just say you take a split, right? You'd hopefully take a split against Utah State and San Diego State. So if you could get, 3 of the next 4 here and all of a sudden be sitting at, 14-5 and moving up the rankings. I mean, is this – I got, after the Fresno game, I had some people kind of chastising me for saying we're so far away from talking NCAA tournament that, what are you doing? You're crazy. But I mean,
we're number 40.
Are we getting to a point? Are we getting to a point where this team, we're going to have to start thinking about if it continues, they're going to put themselves in position where this might be a team that goes dancing?
If they're number 40 where they are today and Ken Palm are lower in the 30s, they're in. I mean, it's math. You got the at-large bid, you got the automatic bids, and 68 teams make it. If your strength of schedule and you got wins, against Ole Miss on the East Coast, and you got, Washington State, and now, big wins in the Mountain West, they will be in if they can keep playing the way they are. And defense is what's going to do it. I mean, you're going to see guys with off nights offensively. It's going to happen. But if they can keep guarding the way they're guarding, they're going to be tough to beat.
Well, as we head out, we'll give folks one more look at the Tomahawk one-handed slam. Emmanuel Acott, 23 points, 1 off a career high for Boise State. The nice behind the back, the 2 dribble, and just like Matt Bauscher, flying through the air and slamming it home. Big win for Boise State. They win this one again last night in Reno, 85-70. And Matt, we know you got some homes to sell. Well, we hear the email going off there, so we'll let you get back to work. But thanks a lot, man. Always a pleasure. And we'll do this again next week. And hopefully we're talking 10 in a row as we get set for the
we'll have 2 games the next time we talk. We'll have 2 games under the belt after that. So thank you, BJ. Go Broncos.
Big one for Boise State last night. Appreciate you guys for watching this out. We're every show, the viewership continues to rise, and we appreciate folks for checking it out. And again, please consider Matt Bauscher Real Estate for all your real estate needs around the Treasure Valley. And I saw the news, Matt, you're opening up a new location up there in McCall, right?
Yep, we are. We're opening that up and trying to grow, and it's fun. I mean, where else would you want to work than in Idaho, the greatest state there is?
Cool, man. Well, best of luck with everything moving forward. We'll talk to you next week, and hopefully we'll see you out Tuesday night, Matt, courtside Extra Mile Arena. Hopefully we see a lot of the fans as well. Boise State now 11-4 on the season, and they're riding an 8-game winning streak. They'll head to Albuquerque on Saturday, and Bronco Nation News will be on site at the pit, and I'll see you for a live pregame show about 3 o'clock on Saturday. So appreciate folks. Appreciate you, Matt, and we'll talk to you later. Blue Turf Sports, my old employer, Blue Turf Sports. You can go check them out if you want, but Blue Turf Sports, Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.
Got to see it twice. How about behind the back?